And there, so coming down in 3, 2, and 1. Well, Mayor Mike, welcome back. Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. We are not in the same room yet, but we are getting closer.
We are getting
So much
closer.
closer. Yes.
Everybody was eligible over 16 who wanted the vaccine last Thursday. So another 2 months, and anybody who wants a vaccine should have one. So we're getting to the light at the end of the tunnel. I know last week they lifted the mask mandate for the state of Wisconsin. The state Supreme Court voted 4-3, but we're gonna stay the course. And I think I told you before, we're looking at Riverfront Rendezvous going on as normal this year. Well, I shouldn't say normal because we've actually got some pretty good enhancements planned. Working with a different fireworks vendor, we are going to be very likely launching the fireworks from the river now rather than the shoreline, giving us the opportunity to have people watching from both shorelines of the river. And the cool thing about launching them from the river, I understand, is because of the various fire codes and things like that in the fallout zone, we're able to go a little bit larger than we have been able to go to in the past. So I, without a doubt, I am sure that this year's Riverfront Rendezvous is going to be the best one that we've ever had, where we're going to be announcing some of the headliners pretty soon. So keep your ears open for that. And I know Levitt Music Festival on Thursdays, they're still planning on moving along. So we'll have things going down at Piffner Pioneer Park and the Riverfront all summer, plus Notes at Night on Wednesdays, downtown Stevens Point on the square, outdoor music. And we have extended the open intoxicants outdoors through the summer and through the fall. So you can grab a bite to eat, grab an adult beverage or two, sit and watch the fountain, walk down to the river, enjoy your lunch, or as I said, on Wednesday nights, come down for Notes at Night, the live music venue down there. Of course, still planning on the farmers market Saturday mornings. That's always a big draw. Things are getting better finally, but we're not out of the woods yet, so people still need to be cautious.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a lot of great stuff outdoors that you threw in there. We'll maybe dive into some of it here in a bit, but first we do want to remind people again, just because the Supreme Court lifted the mask mandate, that does not mean that certain mandates in the city of Stevens Point have been lifted. You're still requiring face coverings in city-owned buildings, correct?
In city-owned buildings, right. And that's really a personal choice. We're trying to keep our employees safe, our customers, the citizens safe. And there are other businesses that are choosing to require masks within their business. That's their right to do so. So, I would caution anyone who is feeling frustrated. If that isn't what you believe, then find an alternative. For the city of Stevens Point, if there's business that you need to do with the city, you don't have to come here in person. If you choose not to wear a mask, or maybe medically you can't, there are other options. You can go online. You can handle business through an email or phone calls. We've come very far with providing those alternatives to in-person viewing.
Mm-hmm. And as far as again businesses go, that is, you can find alternatives there with curbside to go. You can place an order over the phone. Many businesses doing things online now, so there are alternatives to try and keep your business local if that's what you want to do, and what you maybe even should be doing during these times as we help some of these businesses recover and come out of the pandemic stronger.
Right. Well, and again, we talk about personal choices. That's exactly what those businesses are doing. If you don't feel safe, wear a mask. And if you do feel safe and not wearing a mask is a priority for you, then find an alternative. That's your choice to do. We've got, just because the Supreme Court ruled against the legality of those continued emergency orders doesn't nullify the science or make us feel any safer. It was a legal decision.
Absolutely. And I think that was emphasized as well in the decision itself, that it was about the legality of it and not necessarily the the logic or the science behind it. You mentioned Riverfront Rendezvous. Again, if it were to happen, tomorrow, we know it wouldn't be happening, but we're talking about something that's 2 or 3 months out. So have you put any thought yet into just exactly what this event is going to look like, how it's going to operate logistically, uh, attendance restrictions, attendance cap, social distancing, things like that? Or is that all just too muddy to gauge right now?
Well, this whole thing has been evolving um, based on infection rates and mortality rates, vaccination availability. Things have been very fluid for the past year. So we are working with the health department here in Portage County, the CDC guidelines, the health department guidelines for the DHS in Wisconsin here, and trying to figure out what options we're going to have, right? So it looks like number restrictions are going to be lifted. This is an outdoor event, but we are also going to provide alternatives. If a mask is still recommended by the CDC or the DHS, we're going to ask that you wear a mask. We are expanding the area so people are better able to social distance. I mean, it's still going to be hard if we get thousands of people like usual, but it gives people who need those options the ability to have some of those options. We are working on safety protocols for our food and beverage vendors, safety protocols for the live entertainment, but I'd hesitate to give a lot of those out now because they're probably going to change next month. So, we're working on it almost every day, absolutely every week, to get the latest updates and running them through the experts. So by the time Riverfront Rendezvous rolls around, we are going to have a good, solid set of safety protocols that we are going to implement.
And more importantly, for some, I think a good, solid, safe event that is just exactly like the event that we've all come to know and love here in Central Wisconsin.
Exactly. And like I said, this year is going to be the best one ever. I guarantee it personally. It's going to be quite a celebration, not as good a celebration as maybe in our sister city of Esteli, Nicaragua come Wednesday after tomorrow's big soccer match. But it's going to be a celebration. That's for sure.
Yes, indeed. Your partner city, Esteli, Nicaragua. I had to turn you on to this a few weeks ago because the little city of Esteli has a soccer team that is going to be going up against some of the best teams in North America. How much have you learned about soccer over the weekend here? And how big of a Real Esteli fan are you now?
Well, obviously, I have to be a huge Real Esteli fan because of our partner city relationship. They made me a scarf when I was down there when we visited a couple of years ago, and I still have it. I'll probably be having it out tomorrow. I understand that the proper protocol is to stretch it between your arms and do a ole 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 ole. I don't know, but I'm going to be as involved as I possibly and more importantly comfortably can.
And in a few weeks, they are going to be coming to Columbus, Ohio to play.
Yeah.
So if possible, are you going to turn into Mayor Mike Wiza, soccer hooligan, with your friends from Esteli, if possible?
I might, but honestly, I don't personally know anyone on the team, but maybe some of our friends are going to be coming up to visit. Of course, we're still in a pandemic, so I guess it's fun to think about. Maybe I'll see if RoboCop can join me.
How many pop culture references are we going to get into this segment here as we transition and talk about the status of the RoboCop statue, which was basically something that the whole state was talking about 2 weeks ago, whether the city of Detroit is going to hold on to their RoboCop statue and whether you will end up getting it. What is the latest on the RoboCop statue as you know it here?
Michael, it was so much more far-reaching than just the state of Wisconsin. I got calls from North Carolina, Vice magazine. There was a call from California. It was all over the place. I can't believe that people picked up on this. it started out as kind of a tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, but it's literally exploded. So right now, the likelihood of us getting the Detroit statue is pretty slim. They want to keep it in Detroit. They raised the money in Detroit. So they're working really hard to keep it there. The offer still stands. If they can't find a home for it, we will warmly welcome RoboCop into our community, bringing Peter Weller back home. However, if that doesn't work out, I've got a couple of contacts. I was contacted by a fiberglass statue manufacturer that said they'd be willing to look at doing a fiberglass RoboCop if we were interested. And I'm still working with Barry over at Create for the possibility of 3D printing our own. As a matter of fact, he did a little prototype bust of RoboCop and sent me a picture of it. So we know all of this is possible. Where it's going to go, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to probably do some crowdfunding, and it sure sounds like everybody wants it. I don't care what side of whatever fence it is that there is. Everybody was supportive of getting the RoboCop statue. So that community pride, there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly, it, because this is something that the whole community is now suddenly coming together around, clamoring for at one time or another. And it seems like this is something that people say, we're going to point to that as ours. This is our thing. Yeah.
There's community pride is one of the biggest things that you can do in a community, right?
Right.
What's the Beach Boys song? Be true to your school. It's us, right? Stevens Point is us. And that's part of the big part of the reason that makes us such a great city, is that everybody can rally together around a cause, whether that's, cultural commons or a dog park or, whatever it happens to be. People band together, and this is us. This is what makes us proud. So it's really cool to see that.
Then one more question on this. I know you've got another engagement coming up here, but give us an idea of, is there any talk of this being a talking statue, a thank you for your compliance recording that'll play at the push of a button, or if you break a plane, a laser plane or something like that?
Laser. Well, honestly, no, Michael, that's the first I've heard of it. I like the idea, though. If you're going to have a RoboCop statue, you might as well have a talking RoboCop statue. And maybe that's how we pay for it. You want to have a 12 or 13-foot RoboCop statue. He can, we can help fund it through sponsorship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your compliance. Sponsored by Wiza or whatever it happens to be, right? Don't forget your ice cream cone before you leave town.
Exactly. And we've got the contacts with Peter Weller. He's a Stevens Point native. I think we can get him to record that to play on a loop pretty easily.
I got to tell you, speaking of those voiceovers, I don't know how many people out there know it, but there is a home assistant that normally would have a name, and you can actually download the voice of Samuel L. Jackson for your home assistant. Of course, I had to do it because that's the kind of geek I am. Yeah. So Samuel L. Jackson can turn on my lights or tell me a joke or whatever it happens to be. Set the temperature control.
Speaking of building communities and things like that, the communities of Wausau and Stevens Point obviously pretty well connected. Just having the interstate running between us, we're all pretty good friends. Mayor Katie Rosenberg was at one time a Stevens Point roller derby athletes, the schools and everything. You recently cashed in a bet that dates back to even before my time here, the Mayor Jim Teeple days in Wausau. Could you tell us about that and how this bet came about and how you cashed it out?
Sure. Well, first off, let me start by saying Tracy Kachawa, the Wausau Fire Chief, formerly the Stevens Point Fire Chief, retired last week on April 1st. No fooling. And Tracy was an amazing person here at Stevens Point, and she did wonderful things up in Wausau. It was very sad to see her leave. However, there was a bet years ago that our fire chief and myself, Bob Finn, and me made with then Mayor Tipple and your chief Kujawa in regards to training people with CPR. So there was a contest rolling around to see who could train the most people, citizens, normal people in CPR. And the bet was lunch. The loser would buy the winners lunch in their community. Well, Wausau gave us a whooping. And that was near the end of Mayor Tipple's term. So it never happened. And then Mayor Milkey got in, and I called him right away and I said, hey, listen, I owe you guys lunch. Let's try and find a date to do this. Well, our lives get busy, and somehow I got put on the back burner and never really transpired. We'd bring it up every, 6, 8 months, whatever it was, and it never happened. Well, when Mayor Rosenberg got in, I said, listen, Katie, I owe you guys lunch. And I explained the whole story to her, and nothing was going on there either. It just, pandemic, and we just didn't have an opportunity. Well, then Tracy announced her retirement. And I called Tracy and I'm like, listen, Tracy, I don't want this hanging over my head. I don't want you retiring without me settling the score here. So I said, let's try and find a date where Chief Finn and I can come up and take you and Mayor Rosenberg out for lunch somewhere to settle the bet. And she tried a few dates and it wasn't really working. And she finally said, Mayor, I'm just so busy because I've got so much to do before I retire. I just don't think it's going to work out. And I thank you for, keeping the bet up, but I just can't do it. So Chief Finn and I talked about it, and we couldn't take no for an answer. So we wound up sending up some Polito's pizza last week in honor of Tracy's retirement. So we sent it up to the firehouse. I told her to invite Mayor Rosenberg. I'm not sure if she got any of that pizza or not, but if that's the case, I'll still go up and buy Mayor Rosenberg dinner. All I know is I'm happy that we finally settled the bet. Now I got to cut you off here, Michael, because I got to go run over to our streets department. As you know, we have 2 seasons in Wisconsin: construction and winter. And
Absolutely.
now that winter is over, it's pothole season. So I have to go and make sure that we've got enough staff and enough supplies to start filling those potholes that really take us through the whole summer. And then we'll start the whole process again in winter.
Absolutely. Look forward to it. So always appreciate the time, and enjoy the pothole filling.
All right. See you later. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.